What if the biggest thing holding you back in your salon isn't your pricing, isn't your team, or even your marketing strategy? What if it is the noise you have learned to live with? The background buzz of confusion, clutter, misalignment, the things that you've tolerated for so long, you don't even notice them anymore. But they're sabotaging your growth every single day. Welcome back to the Impactful Salon Owners Podcast. I'm your hostess, Jacquelyn Rodriguez, and we are going to go beyond cluttering the shelves and the chaotic schedules. We talked about that in the last episode, but today we're going to talk about noise, and not just the kind that makes your space feel disorganized. We're talking about the subtle, sneaky forms of noise that is and will continue to sabotage your business performance behind the scenes. Noise is anything that blocks your clarity, slows down your action, or dilutes your message. It can show up in your space, but more often it is showing up in your systems, your leadership, your branding, and your decision making. And if you leave this unchecked, it doesn't just drain your energy. It's going to cost you money, retention, and reputation. Okay, so let's look at what is actually sabotaging you. And I also want to explore how to shift out of them. Number one, the decision noise. Too many choices equals no clarity. You're constantly tweaking pricing, offerings, or your hours. Your team doesn't know what's to be expected because the expectations shift from week to week. How this is going to hurt you is you're not going to have any consistency. You can't make a decision and keep it for long enough for you to master it. And I know that I was there. I mean, I love change. I really do. And I love adding on new things. And there was a time, and honestly, I go through phases where I want to change everything all the time. And then I am able to just stop and not change anything for a while. But when I'm in that space of constantly changing my messaging, my marketing, what my team is expected to know, that created so much pressure, and I didn't even realize it, that I was putting these expectations not only on myself to implement everything, but on my team to actually know how to do the things that I put into place. And then I didn't give them enough time to actually learn any of it, because then we just were on to the next thing. So this is a huge sabotager in your business. So what do you do about it? How do you shift out of this pattern? I had to create a 90-day decision cycle. No major changes to pricing, hours, services, unless it was a part of the quarterly review. Now, one of the questions that I use to filter through this is, does this align with my core mission and client promise? So when I am making decisions throughout the quarters, I choose one main focus each month, whether it is improving retention or updating the protocols or marketing a specific service. When I do it this way, the decisions become consistent, confident, and they increase for me and for the team. So it helps build out that system of knowing what to expect, even as things are changing. And it takes away the overwhelm for you and your team. Let's go on to the second noise that is sabotaging your success, which is your brand noise. Too many messages equals no identity. And when you are all over the place, and this was a huge thing that I had to learn, because I love all the different things and I'm multifaceted. So I'm big into meditation and yoga and all sorts of different things that all fit under my brand, right? So at this point, it wasn't like something off the wall that just didn't make sense. it all fit into my brand, but I was trying to talk about all of it. And everyone who was on my page or looked at my brand was super, super confused. They had no idea what I did or what I sold, what kind of services they could come. And a confused buyer will not buy. And that's just how it was. And I was really confused as to why I wasn't, creating the sales, or people were just booking regular appointments instead of booking these new types of experiences that I was creating. It's because they were confused. They had no idea what they were or what it even meant. So they weren't going to book it. So for a salon owner, this may look like you're promoting all of the different services that you offer, right? And this can be a little tricky for salon owners because you're not just promoting yourself, right? You may have very specific things that you only you want to do. But for your whole team, you may have a whole bunch of different people and their specialties may be different. So it is a little trickier when it comes to salon owners because we want to market everyone kind of equally. But because my brand, my salon's brand has very, very clear messaging about what the overall experience is. We are a clean, sustainable, holistic salon. So anything in there is going to be very clearly messaged that everything brings back to that, right? So we'll talk about that in a second, but it's creating that overall messaging so that it is still very clear and concise and people can understand why they would choose your salon over somebody else's salon. So what do you do about it? How do you clear out that branding noise? First, you want to pick a brand anchor. Again, what do you want your salon to be known for? What is the overarching message? And you want to build out content pillars around your client transformation, not the service menu, right? So again, we're going back to these content pillars are all going to be different parts of your brand. So once you have those content pillars, you want to audit your marketing weekly. How would a new client immediately see your social media? What kinds of feelings are they going to have? Is it really clear what you do as a salon that stands out from others? So you want to make sure that when people come onto your site, your social media, you have about 3 seconds. So I want you to audit your marketing weekly. How is a new visitor going to immediately understand what you stand for? This matters because clear brands convert faster. When people get what you do within the first 3 seconds, they're more likely to buy, refer, and trust you. Okay, so what is the third noise that we're going to talk about today? That is the leadership noise. You are talking, but you're not being heard. Your team acts confused, passive, or avoids accountability. This is when you know that you have leadership noise. You're not being heard. I know that you feel like you're not being heard or listened to at all. And this is a little bit touchy because when it comes to leadership, I really, really do believe that we need to take some responsibility because I do hear salon owners all the time talking about their stylists don't want to work, or they're lazy, or they're messy and dirty, and they don't want to put in the extra effort to learn something new or bring in a new service or something like that. Now, I know that there are some stylists out there who just don't, okay? But you also get to take responsibility for your leadership because if you hired them it is ultimately your responsibility. And if they're on your team, then they had to be showing some of those signs when you hired them. And again, taking responsibility, it was your choice to bring them on and hire them. I'm not trying to be rude or anything like that. Trust me, this was something I had to keep telling myself because I was in that same boat. And I'm like, okay, if they're not listening, what responsibility am I taking for this? How did I create this in my salon? You look at that and see, first off, does that person need to still be in your salon? Or is it that you have not set the clear boundaries or expectations of your team and kept up with that? Because I was guilty of that too, where I would say, we're going to do this, and I tell them what I'm looking for and what they need to be doing, and then I didn't have any accountability. I just expected them to do that, right? Because they're grown-ups and they should just do it. But I had to put in systems in order to make sure that we were following up and helping them stay accountable to the expectations that I had for the salon, to the boundaries that I had created for the salon and myself. And that's really what we have to look at, right? You've got to look at, is the leadership noise, is it that you just hired somebody who's not the right fit for your business? Or is it that we need to set clear boundaries and communication, and then follow up and stay accountable to that? How do we shift out of this and create less noise and create our voice as a leader? So the first thing is create a centralized communication method, whether that's Slack or Monday.com or Asana, or we have a hub where all of our education is stored, and all of the stylists can check in there to see team meetings, one-on-ones, recaps, education. Everything is housed there so they know exactly where to go. And I don't have to keep reminding them where everything is. So once you have all of your reoccurring leadership rhythms, then you want to present that to the team. Talk to them about how things are going to change, and make sure that you do it from a space of care and love and support instead of blame. You never want to start out with, okay, here's this hub and here's all the education because you guys could never find anything. So now I had to make this and, put this together for you. I wouldn't start it like that because that is going to be a complete bust. And your team is not going to follow through or care. They're going to shut down. So make sure when you do present it to them, it is truly in the best space for you, but for them. This makes it so much easier for them to know what is expected, to be able to check out the things that you are giving them. This is going to give them the confidence to actually follow through with everything because they know exactly what to expect, where they can go when they forget when the team meetings are, or when they want to, get back into the notes maybe of what you went over in your team meetings. It is going to make a world of difference because you're going to have clarity and consistency. And then that is when your team, the message is going to land and your culture is going to strengthen, and you are going to feel like you are being heard. And even more important, your stylists are going to feel like they are being heard. It is a win-win for everyone. Okay, so the fourth noise is energetic noise. A cluttered space equals cluttered presence. What it looks like for you might see is your back bar is overflowing. You immediately feel on edge when you walk into your salon because you feel like you're constantly moving, but nothing feels accomplished. This is a really big one because your energy Your energy noise is also felt not just by you, not just by your team, but your clients feel that immediately. So this is so important that obviously we want to keep a decluttered space, but not just because we want it to be clean. We want it to create an energetic balance to the entire place. I don't know about you, but when my surroundings are cluttered and they're overflowing and there feels like there's no direction and things are just kind of shoved places, which I have been known and guilty of doing because sometimes we just got way too much and we don't know what to do with it and we just shove things in corners. I have closets at home and at the salon where it's like, okay, I just don't know what to do with this and I don't have the time to deal with it. We shove it in a closet. But every single time that we have something like that, it is shifting your energy. You may not see it, but because that energetic noise is still happening behind a closed door, it affects all your energy in your salon. So we want to clean up that noise. And how do we do that? One of the ways that I like to handle this is weekly. I like to schedule a 15-minute reset ritual. And that can be solo or with your team, which I'm sure your team would love to do that. So bring them in. Again, the more that you can bring them in on these changes, the more that they are going to be open to it. In that reset ritual, you are going to just reset and refocus on how the energy feels in the salon, how the energy feels throughout like each room, right? So it's just a quick 15-minute walkthrough. Look at your space. How does that energy feel? Is it off? Is it feeling inviting? Is it, stressed? Is it tension? And this is a big one where, again, we're not just looking, is it clean? It should be clean, right? We know we want to keep our space clean. Let your body tell you, or let your stylist really tune in and feel the energy in the room. And that's going to tell you a whole lot. So when you're able to take 15 minutes each week and just tune in energetically to what your space feels like, and then follow that. Obviously, if something needs to be changed or something feels off, take a look at that and let that one change be what you need to take care of for that week. So one of the other ways to help with this is create a sensory grounding in your space. So whether that is diffusing oils, a curated playlist for your clients, intentional lighting, and maybe even the way that you speak to them. Make sure that when you're talking to them and you're having the consultation, you're sitting and you're talking eye to eye. That creates an energetic connection like nobody's business. So doing each one of those things will help you create that energy and get rid of that noise. So the last noise is vision noise. And this is that lack of direction that equals inconsistent growth. This is where maybe you keep switching your goals. You're not sure where you really want to take your salon. Maybe you've outgrown your original vision, but you haven't really clarified what the next step is. And when we're in that space in between our visions, it is where things will kind of fall apart. You don't have any clear directions, and that is very hard to run business when you do not have clear directions. Try getting to, a space like a new town that you've never been to. The first thing you do is you look for a map, right? You want clarity on where you're going. You have to know that endpoint, or somewhere. Like you don't have to say a specific town or a specific, goal, but you do have to know that you're maybe driving to California. That's a pretty big trip from Virginia. So I would want to know where my map is taking me. And then that way I have clarity on this is what I need to do to get to California. When you have that, everything gets so much easier because you are able to say yes and no to certain opportunities or certain things that are asked of you based on, will that actually take you to your final destination, your big vision, or is it going to take you on a side route that takes you, you know how on Waze or whatever, any of those navigation things, you're like, okay, well, I want to hit up the next, gas station. And maybe I want a very specific gas station, or somebody, says, hey, one of my kids says, no, I really want to go to Target. Well, how far off of my route is that going to take me? And once you know that, you are able to continue to say no to things that are going to take you too far off of your vision, your map of where you're going. And then you can also say yes to things that maybe you didn't know were even an option, because once you start to have clarity of where you're going, the universe loves to bring us things that will also help us get there. But you don't know any of those things because you don't know where you're going. So having a vision is so important. So you might be asking me, okay, how do I get that vision? And what I want you to do, 1 hour each month, I want you to do something called vision casting. So grab a journal, and in your journal, I want you to ask yourself these questions. And in your journal, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Where am I headed? What is the next evolution? And I want you to continue to go back and revisit your mission and your values with yourself, but also with your team. And in those journaling times, I want you to write that out. Like, where are you actually going? What's working right now? What do you not maybe want to do anymore? So I want you to take that journal entry and start to bring that back to your team. Share that vision with them. Share with them where you want to go and see what they want to add to it. My team is amazing, and they always have some ideas that maybe I didn't think of. So if, of course, it aligns with where I originally want to go with the salon, then obviously let's bring it in. If it's totally left field, that's one of those things where it's like, if it's going to take us too far off the beaten path, then you can gently say, I love that, but maybe not right now. It doesn't really fit into where we're going, and we can revisit it another time. But this is where you get to say yes and no to things that are not going to take you off of the path, but you're going to continue down to your big vision. So bring that to your team, ask them about it, get them involved so they take pride in what you're doing. And then you can create like a digital vision board, or you can create a vision board and put it somewhere in your salon so that your team can also continue to see where you're going, and they get excited and they start also bringing things in from the universe to help all of you on that path. So when your vision is clear, your team will rally around you. Your marketing sharpens, and your decisions are so much easier because they're aligned with where you want to go. All right, so that was the 5 different noises. Stripping back the noise isn't just about peace. It is also about performance. Because when you eliminate the noise, your marketing clicks, your team aligns, your systems flow, you lead with power. Noise makes things harder than they have to be. So you want to strip it back. You want to gain time, clarity, and trust. So this week, I want you to pick one of the 5 types of noises, and I want you to ask yourself, where is this noise showing up? What is it costing me? What's one small system, conversation, or edit that I can make to create more clarity around that noise? And if you are ready to do a full noise detox inside your salon systems, leadership, and marketing, I want you to join me in the Holistic Salon Academy. We don't just declutter everything, but we're really rebuilding it all from that clarity point of where you want to go. And it's your personal vision, and that's where we start to build everything for you. So I want you to head over to Instagram this time, and I want you to DM me the word focus, and I will send you a list of those 5 noises and an invitation, if you want, to the Holistic Salon Academy. All right. I hope this really made a difference in your business and brought you some clarity around where you may be getting stuck. Thank you so much for listening, for being a part of this community. Thank you, and I will see you next week.